President Biden, as I mentioned, traveled to the Grand Canyon today, announcing plans for a new national monument there in the desert. But the president's trip out west comes at a time when he continues to boast about his economic record that saw inflation literally skyrocket under his watch. Working families all across the country continue to feel the pinch every day. So what did we learn from the president's remarks? Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Alex Mooney. He serves on the House Financial Services Committee and represents the 2nd Congressional District of the great state of West Virginia. Congressman Mooney, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you, my friend.
Hey, great to be with you, Jody. Great show you have here.
Well, thank you, and we're honored to have you. All right, listen, let's just begin. Your take on the president's remarks today.
Well, when the man spends our country $5 trillion more into debt in the first 2 years of his presidency, clearly he's causing inflation. Doesn't know anything about reducing inflation. The way they name these bills, you know what the bill does, because it does the opposite of what Joe Biden names it. The so-called Inflation Reduction Act increases inflation. And, here in West Virginia, we rely a lot on coal and natural gas. It literally taxed the coal industry, raised taxes on coal production, devastating West Virginia, which is why it's a shame Joe Manchin and all the Democrats went along with it. As the president said in your pre-show there, this is part of the Green New Deal. They just have a vision that essentially it's an emotional belief that there shouldn't be coal and that there shouldn't be oil and gas, and they're just going to go after those industries and try to shut them down. And that all causes inflation. It causes unemployment, and it's completely unnecessary. So, I'm not surprised to see what he said, because we knew that was the truth all along. I was surprised to see the president attack the Republican Party, saying, that not one Republican voted for it. So what he's implying there was a pure Democrat passed legislation because they couldn't get any bipartisan support because it was such a bad such a bad plan, really.
Well, it was a bad plan, and it had nothing to do with the economy in terms of reducing inflation, as he even admitted today. It was all about climate change and green energy, and we could unpack that. I'm sure you could unpack that enormously, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to do that. But I wanted to play a clip for you, Congressman, from the Vice President, Kamala Harris. She was also making her rounds and was boasting about where we are now with inflation. Play clip, please, for her, and I'd like to get your reaction. Clip 3.
Today, the unemployment rate is near the lowest it has been in over half a century in our country. Wages are up, and inflation has fallen 12 months in a row.
Wow. Give me your reaction.
We have put so many people into government programs. We've incentivized non-working. It's a shame. A lot of people just stop looking for work. They can rig those numbers because it doesn't count people who've given up looking or have chosen to live in a way that they can live off government, like welfare and other things. I'm not talking about, people who've earned their retirement or veterans. I'm talking about people who take advantage of the system. So I don't know that those numbers are accurate. And everywhere we go, there's I know here in West Virginia, there's, help wanted signs. They're looking for people who want to work, and people who want to work in farms and retail and restaurants. So it's a real struggle to get people who want to work these days. We need to incentivize work. We need to reduce taxes, and you can keep more of what you earn, return ourselves to a free country with free market economics that rewards, the work ethic. And so they have a vision, the socialist vision that, frankly, it's a Marxist vision, from each according to their ability, to each according to their needs, where you get all the benefits of living in this great country, even if you don't work. But those numbers won't hold. Inflation's out of control. We're borrowing so much. The average child born today owes a couple $100,000 in debt. And, we're borrowing from our children's future. We need to work and pay taxes and work hard. So they're just living in a different world, Jody. I don't know. It's so hard to even unpack all the falsehoods and all the misinformation that's being spread from this administration. Frankly, the most radical administration we've ever seen.
Well, and it's so hypocritical, too, because when you have a shutdown of virtually the entire economy and using COVID as the excuse to do so, and then when that is over and people start going back to work, you can't count that as new jobs. I've seen figures from 70 to 80% of the so-called new jobs are just people going back to work, but they claim it as a strong economy. The vice president was also selling the public, trying to, on Bidenomics. Play clip 2 for me, please.
Is called Bidenomics. Bidenomics. And Bidenomics is working.
Is Bidenomics working?
Absolutely not. Socialism does not work. Every country that's tried it, having the government run your lives, take over healthcare. I mean, it's really a shame to see them look at it that way. We have taxes out of control. We have, people just looking to government to take care of them, and it's certainly not working. We need to get people back to work. Look, just the inflation alone, all this spending. I mean, folks who are working now, unless you've had a 15% raise in the last couple of years, you've lost money on your paycheck. Inflation is taking away from people who work, and frankly, taking away from people who've saved all their lives. I mean, 15% inflation since Biden's becomes president, approximately, has robbed people's savings from them. That is not working. That's a redistribution of wealth. That's what they're trying to do. Redistribute wealth from those who work and save and give it to those who do not and have not earned it. And it's nothing more unfair than senior citizens living on a fixed income who have saved all their lives, have it in a retirement account, and literally lose money because inflation is so high. That's what's happening here. And that is absolutely not working for most Americans.
Yeah, and I just saw gas. We're all watching. Gas prices are soaring yet again. The president has used up an enormous amount of our strategic petroleum reserve. We now, article I saw today, we only have 18 days worth of that SPR remaining, and it will take decades to refill it. It's stunning to me what this administration tries to take credit for. Congressman, if I can switch gears, we can talk a lot about what the administration should be doing. Chances are they're never going to get around to what they should be doing. They're too focused on their own radical agenda that is continually chipping away at the well-being of our country. But you recently introduced legislation to eliminate the DEI office in the House of Representatives. Tell us what that is and why you have moved forward with this legislation.
Yeah, there's been a wokeness that's beginning to take over a lot of agencies and government and even private industry. And they spend this time pushing what they call diversity, equality, and inclusion. And really it's exclusion, and it's pushing the whole woke agenda into government and private industry. But we have an office of that right on Capitol Hill. And the House of Representatives by ourselves could just pass a legislation to eliminate that. We've actually, Jody, passed amendments on the House floor, you'll be pleased to hear, to eliminate those offices from the military and other government agencies. We've had the votes to eliminate those offices in our appropriations bills and our other legislation that we've passed. But we authorize it right in Congress. So that's obviously something we need to eliminate. Just treat everybody the same. Treat everybody fair, regardless of who you are, where you came from. Everyone gets treated the same. We don't need these special offices that frankly divide us. These offices and these agendas, they divide us based on our sex and our race and our ethnicity. We should stop dividing America. Just treat everybody equally. So my plan just eliminates that office, returns that money to the taxpayers,